What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video journaling episode. Boah. Okay, today, exam day, right? English exam was pretty decent, honestly. The thing is, when I read the exam, okay, you have to imagine like this. We got two exams, or no, the exam was split in two parts, and for each part, we got two exams. Yeah. The first part was outlining information, the second outlining information, analyzing information, or analyzing something in regards to the task. And the third one was a choosing task. You could choose one of two, and it was either a blog entry or something else, like some assess, like there was a quote, and like assess the consequences of this or whatever based on this quote, or starting from the quote. And yeah, honestly, at first, there was like 60 minutes of choosing time for like all of it, since you had basically 4 exams, right? You had to choose 2, one for part 1, one for part 2. And part 2 was mediation, one task. You had to write an article in both, or once an article, once a blog entry. I chose the blog entry because the text for it was better. It was like obligatory community work for like a year or so. And it was like sum up the information in the text, or write a blog entry where you sum up the information on the text. And in the end, I also added I didn't add my own opinion, I think, because I did not have time. And I was writing that, and the teachers were going around taking the exams, So I couldn't add my opinion. I just wrote a small conclusion, and yeah. The thing is, when I read all of the exams, at first I was like, bro, this is gonna be my worst exam yet in English. Thing is, my English exam was always 12 out of 15 points, and twice or once 11 out of 15 points. So, as I said, once or twice 11 out of 15, and 5 times or 6 times 12. So, decent. And the teacher passing out the exams, right? Each teacher was passing out the exam to her course, and she was like, okay. And to everyone out of the course, she was saying something else, like, oh, look out for this, look out for that. To me, she just came and was like, okay, try at least 13 points. So yeah, but then I read the exam and I was like, damn, this is about to be my worst exam yet. But it was actually okay, I think. Сейчас нет, муля. Сейчас не могу. I do wonder sometimes if I still have the terrible accent in Russian. I guess with some words I do. Like some words, I have trouble pronouncing some words the first time I say them. Makes sense? But the second time I say them, like, I realize my pronunciation is bad sometimes, and I try to say it correctly, but I mean, it's gotten a lot better actually. What was I talking about? Exam, yeah. And after the exam, it was pretty decent. I think it might actually. I don't know about 13 points or higher out of 15, but maybe. Like, it's still a possibility. Yeah. But oh yeah, this time I also, I put more time into the outline, the first task, because I always, like, that's the task where I had the least amount of points. So I kind of made sure I took a bit more time with that, so that should work out. This time in the analysis, I also wrote a introductory sentence and a conclusion, small one. And that's also where a lot used to lose points. And yeah, the last task, or well, the write your own opinion task is usually where I got the most points out of the 3 tasks. But this time, I don't know, it was okay, and the mediation is pretty easy, honestly. Yeah. That's what's up. And after the exam, I what did I do? I stood in front of the school, was talking to a few friends, about the exam and then also about other stuff. And that's crazy. And then I started talking about some crazier stuff. Like 2 of the 4 people who were standing there and talking were like big into conspiracy theories, or are like big into conspiracy theories. And one of them was yapping politics talk with the other guy, and like one guy is completely right, and the other guy he was talking about was completely left winged. Like not completely right in terms of he's correct, but like right winged. And the other left, or not even that much left. There's people way more left winged than that guy. He's more like okay-ish left. And he's also one of those who you can talk with. That's why he's also an okay left, because usually you cannot talk with extremists. Like you cannot have a normal conversation with them there, because they will get emotional and stuff. So that was actually nice to listen to. Yeah, they were talking about that. Then also, they also spoke briefly about, not that briefly actually. They spoke a bit about, the woman's quote or whatever, how every business, or at least here, I don't know about the whole world, but how every business has to have a certain amount of women in them, a certain percentage or so. And the right wing one, more conservative one, was like, that's bullshit, and the left wing, more open one, was like, nah, that's good. I know men are getting discriminated right now for like probably the next 20 years, but if this that's where I nah that's where he completely lost me. He said, if it stays like this for 20 years and then nothing changes, then I will go into the streets and protest. I'm like, brother, oh, need to go to training. Yeah, but nah, that's where he completely lost me. Like 20 years, I'm not. I also do think that's bullshit, because why is it only in the high profile jobs where it's only like the high profile jobs where there's like this quota, and not in jobs in low profile jobs, like I don't know, working in the sewers, what, or I don't even know what the jobs are called in English. The one who, damn. And I wrote an English exam, and I'm the top of my class. That's so sad, and I don't know these fucking jobs. Whatever. Basically, these, you know what I mean. These tougher jobs. Why is it that in these jobs there is no need for this quota? Like that's bullshit. And then also he said something about pay gap, but like it is, there's actually a law that, or here at least, that requires businesses to pay the employees the same amount, no matter if a man or a woman. But the thing is, what these people argue with is that like it's complete bullshit, because they earn this same amount of wage when they start, but the difference is that men tend to ask for more promotions, and men tend to be more ambitious, masculine, So obviously 10 years down the road or so, the men will earn more than the women. Also because women tend to work for what feels right, and men tend to work for what has to be done, you know. How else would all of this exist right now? Yeah. And yeah, basically it's I do also believe that it's bullshit that how this quota, how that quota is only in high profile jobs. There was like, this reminds me actually of a video where a guy went onto the streets and asked girls would they rather choose a high profile job with no pay or a low profile, or working in the sewers for 100K. And basically all of the women chose the high profile job without pay, and all of the men chose working in the sewers for 100K. Because what I don't even get why you would choose the high profile job without pay. How are you gonna live? What? I don't get it. Whatever. I'm not a woman, I'm a man. That's kind of what's up. And then now alarm, right? I have to go to training. We'll see you next one. My muscles are so sore. The exam was so damn crazy hard. And now I have training with more muscle soreness. So we'll see you in the next one.